My final section, and I'll be wrapping up now, is on deciding on the price model. Just to give you a quick intro to price model questions, price model consists of things like the way that you evaluate how much to charge and the pattern of charging. So the first thing to think about is that way that you evaluate how much you're going to charge, which we call a metric, price metric. Imagine you're at an Italian restaurant. You could order by the slice, you could order by the pie, you could order by the meal, like with the prefix, dinner, one price for the dinner. Or it might be a buffet where you pay by the head. Every person that comes to the restaurant pays, per head price. Each of these is a metric. Are you evaluating the price by slice, pie, meal, or head by person? This is very, very important, and it feeds into one of the most interesting insights, which is if you can change up the way that you meter, the way that you measure price, you can potentially find a market advantage without changing anything about what you do. So some quick examples here. On the right, an elevator from Otis Elevators. This is the biggest provider of elevators in North America. They don't actually sell an elevator. They rent the elevator to the building based on the foot pound, based on how much weight was transported over what distance. So they changed the measurement from selling by the elevator to selling by the foot pound of movement. In the center, we have a demolitions company. Demolitions is a highly competitive industry. It's seen as fungible, no way to differentiate. Well, this company, Orica, said, look, instead of charging you based on time and materials or, blasting equipment used, which is how everyone else was charging, they said, we are going to charge you based on the weight of the material dragged away. So after the explosion, how much rubble, how much rubbish had to be hauled away from the site, which is what people wanted to pay for. You may have heard it said, no one wants to buy a drill, everyone wants to buy a hole. That's really what they want. They don't want to own the drill, they want to have a hole. This company figured out a way to meter that, how to bring that to life. Finally, the Michelin example is fantastic. I recommend you look at the book, Monetizing Innovation. All I'm trying to communicate is that the selection of price metric can sometimes be so powerful, even if you change nothing else about what you do. How you measure what you do, how you measure what people pay for what you do and offer can be a game changer. I'll conclude by pointing out that many businesses are built on smart price models. When we talk about Netflix, for example, they did not offer different movies than their rival, which was Blockbuster. They had very much the same selection. You could go on Friday to your local Blockbuster and pick up exactly the same product, if you want to think about it that way, that was available through Netflix. What was different? What was different about it was the price model. Blockbuster forced you to come in and purchase your movies for a few nights, so it was a rental. Netflix said, no, you're going to pay us a certain amount per month, and you can have movies on that basis. That doesn't sound like such a difference until you're in a situation like a business professor of mine who is on his way to bring his wife to deliver her first child, their first child, and he made a U-turn on the way to the hospital to go to the Blockbuster because he had some movies in the back of the car and he did not want to have to pay a late fee on them. They're still married, I think miraculously. But it goes to show how a price model can really, really be a huge drawback for a company. It was a huge drawback for Blockbuster. Even though they offered exactly the same product as Netflix, they lost. Netflix won. I would argue that price model was the only true difference between the two companies. Amazon, we're seeing Amazon crush everyone through a combination of subscription, which is to say Amazon Prime, but also their brilliant AWS, which is their technology platform, cloud data and compute platform, which they charge on a pay-as-you-go basis. You only pay for what you use. I remember when I was a data engineer, I had to pay for enormous racks full of servers. Not with Amazon. With Amazon AWS, you pay for only what you use. This is a very seductive price model. And Costco in the United States, low prices on goods, but you have to pay a membership. We call this a two-part tariff. So the price model, how a person pays, actually matters more than how much you ask them to pay. Finally, I'll leave you with this thought. No one is indifferent to this question of how you charge. Ask your customers, ask your prospects. So when you have the willingness to pay conversation, mix it up. If they tell you that they would pay $120, say, well, okay, but would you pay $10 a month for 12 months? Two very different questions. Ask them how they want the price to be measured, and ask them what relationship they want to have with you